Exactly 1 year ago today, I started the training camp for my first ever boxing fight, and this is a raw, unfiltered story from the training camp and the fight itself, and lessons that I learned from actually losing that fight, and why losing that fight was actually more beneficial for me than winning. Let's start off with how I went about signing up for this fight and why I decided to fight in the first place, right? Because I've been training Muay Thai 2 years prior to this, and I was very comfortable going down the gym a couple times a week, hitting the pads, hitting the bag, doing a little bit of sparring. But the reason I wanted to step up and take a competitive fight is because I wanted to push myself outside of my comfort zone and give me a challenge to keep me disciplined in my life. At that time, I was very much into going out to the clubs, partying every weekend, just getting drunk and just going through the motions as you do when you just turn 18. So when it came to signing up to the fight, I was actually in bed probably about midnight, and you know them times where you're just up all night, your mind's racing with thoughts and you can't get to sleep. I was in bed thinking about this boxing event. Would I be able to do it? Would I actually be good enough to do it? What would the training look like? What would the experience be like on fight night? How many goals would I get if I won that fight? All these thoughts racing through in my mind, and I couldn't get to sleep, so I thought, fuck it. I got up, walked to my desk, probably about 1 o'clock in the morning at this point, and I went onto this website, Ultra White Collar Boxing. If you're from the UK, you'll know what Ultra White Collar Boxing is. It's basically a charity event. Loads of people sign up, a couple hundred people sign up from your area, and you all train together for 8 weeks, and at the end of the 8 weeks, the coaches match you up to an opponent who's also signed up to the event, and then they put on this big black tie event, and you fight in front of about 500 to 1,000 people. On my event, I think there's about 700 people watching, so it's a big fucking event, and yeah, that's a lot of people. So anyway, it's about 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm on this website, and I'm thinking, shit, like this fight's taking place in 9 weeks, and the camp starts next week. And I was like, fuck, like, I really kind of want to do it. I just got this rush of excitement and energy, but also nerves at the same time. It's a really weird combination of feelings, something that you really just had to experience yourself. I can't really explain it. So anyway, go back to bed, I'm thinking about it, barely get any sleep. And the next morning I wake up and I sign up to the fight. I go on the website, put my details, and I get an email saying you're enrolled, and I join this Facebook group with all the details. And I start the training camp the week after that. So I literally just made the decision like that, sign up to the fight. I thought, fuck it, I'm going to do it. This brings me on nicely to the first lesson of the video, and that is just start before you know how, right? I've been doing Muay Thai for 2 years before. Yeah, it's a combat sport, yeah, it's fighting, but Muay Thai is a lot about kicking knees. It's not really much about boxing. I didn't know shit about how to throw a proper jab cross. So I hadn't really had much boxing experience before, but I thought, fuck it. I took the leap, I took the step spontaneously, just out of nowhere. Within 24 hours, I made the decision to sign up to that fight. A lot of people, they take weeks and months to make a simple decision. You'll progress way further in your life if you're just able to make a decision like that on the spot and commit to doing it and stay disciplined to the process. And at that time, my training was very focused on bodybuilding and building muscle. I was in the gym 5 times a week. I was training Muay Thai 2 times a week, getting my calories in, getting my hydration in, building a lot of muscle, and I built quite a big frame. And as soon as I committed to signing up to this fight, I was like, right, my training needs to change. I need to start running a lot more, get down to a boxing gym 4, 5, 6 times a week, start sparring, and my training just completely changed. Now, what this did is it threw me far outside of my comfort zone, right? I was happy going down the gym 5 times a week, lifting weights, but this sudden turn in training, because I had this goal and achievement that I wanted to accomplish and fulfill, it gave me a reason to change. In life, you always need a reason on why you need to change. If you don't have a reason, you're going to stay the same and you're not going to change, because we are creatures of habit and we're not going to change unless we have a solid fucking reason. And stepping inside a ring with another man who wants to take your head off in front of your dad, in front of your mum, in front of your brother, in front of all your best mates, in front of all the girls, that is a solid enough reason to want to change. You had to give yourself that reason. So it comes to the time for my first session for the event, right? I'm 8 weeks out from the fight on this date exactly, and I rock up to my first session, right? And basically with this event, everyone who's signed up to the event and is fighting on that event trains at the same gym for the 8 weeks, and that's how you get matched, because the coaches will look at you and be like, yeah, they're a good match, they're a good match, they're a good match, and you'll get matched with people in sparring. So I actually sparred my opponent 2 times before I fought him on the fight night, but that's a story for later on in the video. So I got up to this event, I'm buzzing, I'm signing up to this fight, and my training's changed, it's all new and exciting. I'm doing it with my best mate Matthew, who I'd actually peer pressured into doing the boxing event, but he still got it done, so big respect to him. But I went to that first session, I trained hard. Now, this was the story for the next 2 weeks. I turned up 4 or 5 times a week boxing, doing my couple runs a week, still lifting weights a little bit, but I was training hard, right? I was pretty happy with myself and the progress that I was making with my boxing. I was learning the fundamentals, learning how to string together a decent combination, doing a little bit of sparring and get my confidence up. But this comes to the first big mistake of the whole fight camp, and probably the pitfall of why I lost that fight in the first place. And that is because I didn't fully 100% commit to the process. 5 weeks out from the fight, I was clubbing, I was still drinking, going out partying with my mates, because I didn't understand the serious consequence at the end of the camp if I didn't really put in the work, which was losing, which happened in the end, right? And this is the main reason for it. And when I reflect on this period, which is the main thing that I like to do when I fail at something or when I do really bad at something, I like to sit back and reflect and analyse the reason why I failed and why I lost. And clubbing and me going out partying 5 weeks out from the fight is that main reason, right? And it's a big fuck up, and I'm pissed off to this day that I allow myself to do that, right? Because I'm normally a very disciplined person. But anyway, 5 weeks out from the fight, I was clubbing every weekend, still going out. But about week 4 or 5 weeks out, I think it was 5 weeks out, I said, alright, fuck this, I need to focus on my boxing camp or I'm going to get sparked. So I stopped clubbing, took my training a little bit more seriously, and this led me on to the next fundamental story and turning point in this video. Alright, so one day I rolled down the local boxing gym, the gym that I've been training at for 2 years prior to that, because when you're fighting on the event you go to another gym to train with everyone, but I had my other home gym or local gym that I've been training at for a long time, right? So I was training there as well as the event gym. So I go down to a boxing gym, my coach is like, you're going to do a bit of hard sparring today, Ben, we got a good guy from another boxing club who's going to come in and spar you. So I was like, alright, sweet, should be a piece of cake, right? So I'm doing my session, warming up a bit on the pads, and the guy comes in from the other gym to spar me. Now, he was actually a very good boxer. He'd been training in an amateur boxing club near to me. I'd actually gone to school with him, so I knew him. He was a little bit younger than me, but he had a lot more experience, and he was a very good boxer, right? So anyway, I'm cracking the pads, warming up, getting into the sparring session, and we go in to the ring to do a round of sparring. Now, the coach is like, alright, 3 rounds, pretty hard sparring, you've got to push each other. He's going to work you, Ben, and you're just going to improve your skills. So I'm like, alright, cool, bit of sparring. I was just nervous, as you do before sparring, when you do sparring, and you're pretty new to boxing, you're pretty nervous before every sparring session, but that's very normal, because as soon as you get in the ring, the nerves go. And this leads me on nicely to another lesson, and that is never be afraid. Alright, being scared is actually okay. Being scared is it's just an instant feeling that you get. It's not really that critical. It's just a feeling that you get in the moment, right? But being afraid, on the other hand, being afraid is a state of mind. It's a state of being. It's a state of living. The way that you act. It's the way that you think. So being afraid is not fucking okay. I've recently been reading a book, Courage is Calling, by Ryan Holiday. Very fucking good book. And it's basically explaining how being afraid is a state of mind and how that will actually fuck you up. But being scared is okay. Having the nerves is okay. But it's what you do with that feeling of being scared in the moment. And I could have very easily just backed out of that sparring session and said, no, don't want to spar. But I had the courage and the bravery to push through and just get myself in the ring and experience it, which is what I'm going to get onto. So anyway, I'm in the ring. Coach is like, 3 rounds, hard sparring. Let's go. Let's work each other. So touch gloves in the middle, and I'm just bopping around basically, and this guy's picking me off, like jab, cross, bang, bang. I'm just getting fucking hit to the face, left, right, centre. Not very nice. I did have a head guard on, but if you're getting hit, it doesn't really make that much difference. So anyway, I'm getting popped. It's about a minute into the fight, and I'm like, shit, like this guy's fucking good. He's way quicker than me. He's a bit lighter than me, a bit younger than me, but he's fucking quick, and he's hit me with these sharp shots. I've got probably about 30 seconds to a minute left of the round, and this guy's just fucking hammering me down, and it gets to a point where I'm basically useless. I'm basically unconscious, and I'm just getting hit left, right, centre. I don't know what's going on. I'm just in a whirlwind of boxing gloves hitting my face. So coach stops the round. My nose is just gushing with blood. My eyes are all over the place. I'm seeing stars. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I just tried to come down to do a little bit of pads, improve my skills, and I'm getting banged like this from another guy from a gym. So I end up on the fucking side of the ring, basically not knowing where the fuck I am, with my blood all over the ring. And that is one of the most humiliating experiences of my whole life to date. This is probably even worse than the actual fight, because it was in my home gym, which I've been training at for 2 years now. I knew the coaches really well. I knew everyone there really well. And this guy's just come in and put me on the floor. So I'm like, right, like this is not good. I went home, and that was a key turning point in the boxing camp. Even though it knocked my confidence a lot, just being humiliated, basically knocked down on the ring, blood all over myself. It's one of those experiences you need to have in life, right? It sounds bad and it sounds a bit violent and aggressive, but you need that experience where you just feel useless and you're just getting pummeled in the head. I feel like that's very important as your development as a man. You just need to be hit very hard in the head, I think, to truly develop and kind of know a lot about yourself and learn about yourself, which I certainly did through that experience. I remember after that I just went on a fucking 1 hour drive just thinking about it and thinking about life. Very traumatizing experience, but it was good. I'm glad that I got over it, and again I come back to courage. I had the courage to get in the ring, and that's an experience that changed me and my personality forever, right? Just that 3-minute round made a massive impact on my life. So anyway, Days go by, I'm back training in the event gym, and in the event gym, when it comes up to the fight, when you're 4 weeks out for the fight, you start sparring. They start looking to match you with your opponent. So I've been training. I was probably, not to big myself up and stroke my own ego, but I was probably the best boxer in that gym, right? At the gym that I've been training at, my local gym, I wasn't the best. I was in an environment where there's some good fighters there, but in the event gym, I was probably the best there, because everyone there, they're just a casual. They're not really in it to just fight. They just want to raise a bit of money for charity. So I was probably the best one there, and I'm looking at people like, yeah, I'd fuck him up, I'd fuck him up, I'd fuck him up. And anyway, I'm sparring people. I probably did about 3 different spars with people throughout that training at the event gym, and I beat them all up. I remember there's this one guy that I got matched with. He was about 10 kilo heavier than me, and I went in to spar him, and they stopped sparring in like 30 seconds because I was just demolishing him. So my confidence was building back up after I'd just been humiliated in my own gym. And I get onto sparring this guy who they think is going to be my opponent, right? He was looking alright in training, and I was like, yeah, alright, let's spar. So we sparred for the first time, pretty even spar. I probably got the better of him. But obviously sparring's not on points, it's just practicing, right? So I sparred him, I got the better of him, and another week goes by, I'm training hard, getting gassed up for the fight. It's probably about 2 weeks out from the fight now, so last week where you're properly training hard and push yourself before you lay off and recover before the fight. So they put me in for another sparring session with him, so I'm like, alright, I'm sparring him twice, this is going to be the guy that I'm fighting, right? And I've already got the better of him once in sparring, I'm going to do the same thing again. I go in the sparring, and because it's the end of the session, everyone's kind of leaving the gym, and the ring where we sparred in was near the exit to the gym. So everyone was coming out, and everyone was watching the sparring, so I was like, alright, I'm going to fuck this guy up. Even though it was sparring, my ego was very big at the time, so I was like, alright, this is basically a fight, I'm going to fuck him up. so I go in the ring, and yeah, we're having a decent little spar. I think we were doing 2-minute rounds, just a few rounds, and we're having a good spar, and it gets to a point where I've got him in the corner, I'm just piecing him up, laying him off with these big shots, and coach like, alright Ben, back off, and I'm like, alright, finish the round off with sparring, and the session ends, and I was like, yeah, I fucked this guy up, like, I really hope he's my opponent, because I'm going to fuck him up, like I did in that sparring session. Everyone's like, oh yeah, that was fucking sick, like, how long you been training for, bigging me up, because they watched me piece this guy up. So I thought I was the Don, which was a very wrong thing of me to think, because in boxing, if you have a big ego, at the end of the day, it's going to be cut down eventually. This leads me on nicely to the face-off evening. 2 nights out from the fight, everyone gets together at the gym and they announce the matches. They basically matchmake you, and you face off with your opponent, and you get some professional pictures, all that good stuff. So I go to the event, I bring a couple of my boys with me, and I'm just wondering who I'm going to face off with. Deep down I know that it's going to be that guy, but it could be someone else. So I'm at the face-offs, and they call my name in the red corner, Ben Warhol. Go up to the thing, get my picture, nice picture, it's on my Instagram, at Ben Warhol. And then they call my opponent in the blue corner, XYZ. He comes up, and I'm like, alright, it's the guy that I've been sparring. And as soon as they called his name, I got a bit of confidence. I was like, yeah, like this is my time now. And we go off, we face off, and I remember this is a very distinct and weird feeling, right? I remember facing off and looking him dead in the eye, and I felt a bit bad for him, because I'd beaten him up in sparring twice, and he was actually, I'd spoken to him as well, he's a nice guy, and I felt a bit bad for him. I don't know why. It's just me, I'm naturally quite a nice guy. It's something that I've tried to beat out of myself over time, because being too much of a nice person isn't a good thing. So I felt bad for him in that face-off. I'm like, fuck, like this guy's a nice guy, like I don't really want to fight him. And I'm getting these weird feelings and emotions, which you will only get if you have that kind of interaction and confrontation with someone. So I felt a bit bad for him. Anyway, I go home in the car, I'm with my mates, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to fuck him up on Saturday night, let's go. And a few days go past, I'm just chilling before the fight. And it comes to fight day, the day that I'm going to scrap this guy. So it's the morning of the fight, I wake up and I'm fucking shitting myself. There's no other way to put it. All morning I was shitting my pants, right? I'm like, oh fuck, like it's actually fight day now. I've trained for 8 weeks, I haven't really done as much as I know that I should, and this is a big fucking lesson as well, that you can't shortcut the process. Deep down I knew that I shouldn't have been clubbing and partying, going out with girls 5 weeks out from my boxing fight, right? It's not something which I should have been doing. And on fight day, it hurt me, right? You feel it deep down that there is more that you could have done in the 8 weeks training camp. But anyway, The morning goes past, I'm shitting myself, have a decent few meals in before I head off to the venue about 2 p.m. So my mate drives us to the venue, I'm sat at the venue, I go in the hall where the boxing fight is, right? It's a pretty big hall, and I'm seeing all these tables and chairs laid out around the ring, and I'm like, fucking hell, there's going to be a lot of people watching this tonight. I've got to put on a good performance. So across the day, I'm trying to hype myself up, listening to some good rap music, just trying to get myself in the zone for the night. I find out what time I'm fighting. I think I was fighting about 8 p.m, which is 2 hours into the card, right in the middle, which is perfect. So I'm chilling. It gets about an hour out the fight. I get changed. Music keeps going, hyping myself a little bit more, and it's time to go to the change room or the locker room where I'm going to warm up. They put your gloves on you, your head guard on you. You can't use your own gloves and head guard, which are a really fucking annoying thing with these events, but oh well, you just got to deal with it. So I go to the locker room, they put the gloves on me. Bear in mind, this is a big mistake as well. I've been training with 14 ounce fly gloves, very high quality gloves, 14 ounce. If you don't know how boxing gloves work, 16 ounce is the heaviest, 14 ounce, 12 ounce, 10 ounce, 8 ounce. In professional boxing, they use 8 or 10 ounce, I can't really, it depends on the card. But I was fighting in 16 ounce of these big old fucking gloves, and they're heavy as fuck. I've been training in 14s, so when I put these 16s on, it felt like I had a fucking brick wrapped around my hand, right? So I've got these gloves on, I'm warming up, I'm cracking a bit of pads, I'm shadow boxing, and I remember looking over my shoulder, because so we were warming up in the squash courts, right? And the squash courts, corridor down the middle where all the equipment is, and then each warm-up room is there, and it's glass walls, so you can see your opponent while he's warming up. I remember while I was cracking the pads, I'm looking over my shoulder, and I see my opponent. He's fucking like, he looks in the fucking zone, and he's cracking the pads going, it's this. He's like getting proper loud, and the coach is gassing him up like, yeah, come on, 1, 2, 1, 2, and he's cracking the pads with some fucking violence. And I'm looking over my shoulder like, oh, I'm gonna fucking fight. I'm about to fight this guy. Like he didn't look that good when I was training and sparring him. So that mentally fucks me up. And with boxing, you can train as hard as you want, but if you lose your mind on the fight night, you're fucked. Like I think fight night is 100% mental, and the training is 100% physical. Right? It's a very different thing, and something that you have to experience yourself. And I urge you to go and experience it yourself. But I'll talk about that later on in my channel. Anyway, I'm watching this guy crack the pads and warm up, and like, fucking hell, like I'm about to fight this guy, like, shit. In the back of my mind, like, deep down, I didn't want to say it, but I was like, I'm pretty fucked. If I'm, like, in the state of mind where I was trying to hype myself up, but I wasn't really in the mood. I was shitting my pants. I was having to go for a piss every 2 seconds, because I was so nervous. Nevertheless, I'm warming up, get the fucking big old head guard on, and I'm like, shit, right, it's time to fight now. Let's go. So, I walk out the corridor, doors where you go through to the ring, right? I'm trying to just picture this and display it on camera and portray the feelings that I was feeling. So I'm outside the door, there are a load of people just drinking their beers at the bar, and I'm about to walk out, right? I'm seeing all these girls, I'm like, shit, like, I can't lose. And so anyway, they call my name, come to the ring first in the red corner, Ben Warhol. They announce my name, and I hear my walkout song come on, which was Hypnotizer by Biggie. Now this is Conor McGregor's walkout song, so I'm like, alright, I'm gonna feel like Don when this comes on. So I hear this coming, I'm like, yeah, go on. Pretty good walkout song if you ask me. So I walk out, I'm walking out, I walk through the double doors. To the side of me, I've got fucking tables flooded with people, chairs everywhere, and I'm walking through them, and there's like barriers to go to the ring, and I'm seeing the ring, I'm like, shit, like it's literally like walking into the Colosseum in the fucking Roman times, and I'm seeing all these people around me, and then I get into the ring, I step up to the ring, and the ring's quite high, right, it's probably like this high, you're above everyone else, and you can see all around you. So I'm up in the ring, dancing around the ring, doing my thing, and then on the other side there's a load more fucking people. There's probably, if I was to guess, 700 to 800 people watching that fight on the night. So I was like, shit, I'm in front of a lot of fucking people, a lot of fit girls, all my best mates, my dad was there, and I was like, shit, like now it's time to fight. My coach calls me into the corner, he's like, alright, this is what you're going to do, you go into the middle, 1, 2, 1, 2, keep your guard up, pop him with it right, and do your thing. So I'm like, alright, cool. So I'm in the ring, and then they call his name in the blue corner, and then he comes up to the ring, and I'm kind of like looking at him as he's walking to the ring, and he's just walking through the crowd, and he looks like focused as fuck. Like, I'd already seen him hit the pad, so I know he's like on to fight. And then I saw him walking, he looks focused as fuck, and I'm like, shit. Imagine me, I'm stood in the corner in front of 800 people, watching my opponent walk to the ring. I'm like, fuck, like this guy's actually about to try and take my head off. I've got to do something about it. So anyway, he walks up to the ring, and then he says something to his coach, and then we go to the middle to touch gloves, and the rest like, right, you know, I've explained the rules to you in the changing rooms, X, Y, Z, on and on and on, and then we touch gloves, and I'm like looking in his eyes, and he looks like he's about to fucking kill me, like, he literally looks as confident as if he's got a fucking gun in his pants. So I'm like, shit. I go back to my corner, I'm bouncing up and down, but I'm feeling nervous. Like it's weird now because I'm explaining the story. I've got the nerves and the excitement and the energy has come back to me. It feels like I'm living in it in the moment, but it's weird. Anyway, and then the ref's like, alright, fight. Bell goes, ding ding ding. Go to the middle of the ring. I've just got my guard up. I don't really know what to do. My legs are completely gone. I can't feel my legs at all. My legs, my sense of feeling in my body, nada, it's gone. So I'm just kind of in the moment without any control over my body. It's a weird feeling. It's like my mind's over there and my body's here. It's weird. Anyway, he starts popping me with a 1-2. I throw a few shots back and we exchange, and then he just basically starts picking me off because I was very, very reactive in the moment, right? I've been normally in training, I'm very good with my guard. I'm a decent boxer, right? But in the ring, it's just a completely different story. I lost my mind. My arms were coming down, my hands were dropping, and he was just popping me straight in the chin. And towards the end of the first round, I was getting pops, and he just hits me with this fucking rocket of a right hand. Like, imagine, bang! Literally knuckles right on my chin. I'm like, fuck, I get dazed. And bell goes for the second round, go down to the corner, go back to my corner, and the coach is like, right, you fucked up that round, you need to win this next round if you want to win the fight. You're going to go 1-2, 1-2, he's fucking shouting in my face, wiping the blood off me. I have a problem with my nose, I don't know what it is, but my coach always said to me, like, you need to get an operation on your nose, because it bleeds. Every time I just get one pop on my nose, it bleeds. So coach would wipe my nose off saying, right, you need to do this, shouting in my face, like gassing me up. And then the bell goes to the second round. So I go out and I basically just get fucked up again. And that's the story of the rest of the fight. There's not much to explain. I get a standing 8 count twice in that round. And he basically just fucks me up for the next 2 rounds. But I knew that at that point in the fight, I lost. And it comes to the end of the fight and the refs, like, he calls a decision. He wins, he puts his hand in the air, congrats to him. Put up a good fight and fucking bangs me, so respect. But anyway, so I'm like, shit, like, it's just this massive, you just get this massive dump of energy and you just feel like I just wanted the ring to literally just open up and swallow me, and I just wanted to stay there for a few days until everyone had fucked off and then come out of hibernation. That's the kind of feeling and mind space that I was in. I was like, right, I just want to fucking go home and sit in my bed, because like this is not cool at all. So anyway, I go out, I walk back out to the crowd, I've got my head down, my dad's with me, and I just go out, and you have to sit down to get a medical after the fight to make sure that you're not like concussed or anything. I was concussed, so like, alright, no going out after this, no Jaeger bombs, no vodka, just go home, relax, you'll be fine in a week. And I just had this massive dump of energy. I literally felt like shit. Like, not even just because like physically hurt, I wasn't really physically hurt because the adrenaline's so, you have so much adrenaline, you don't feel any pain in the moment. It's just mental. I was just like, fuck, like this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life. So I go to the change room to go clean myself up. Tears fucking gushing down my face. I'm like, fuck, this is the worst thing. This is the worst day of my whole life. And I'm in the shower in the locker room, just like head in hands, like fuck this. And I go out, do my medical, and then I get changed in my suit. And I just brush it off me for the moment. I'm like, alright, that's, at least I've done it now, you get what I mean? So I go out with my mates and we're like, yeah, let's go club. So go to the club, I'm with a few girls. It's actually a pretty decent night out, to be fair. I just kind of brushed the fight off my shoulder, because trained for 8 weeks, go out and enjoy myself in the evening, even though I lost. You got to go out and celebrate it with your mates, right? I had about 15 of my mates come and watch, so I got to go and celebrate it with them. Had a pretty good night. I wake up the next morning with this, in bed with this massive fucking headache, not even from fucking drinking, but just from concussion, right? I had a concussion because this guy had hit me so hard in the head multiple times. So I'm lying in bed, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Dazed as shit. And yeah, and the next few days I just kind of reflect on the fight. So a few days after the fight, I'm sitting there, I'm like, right, I need to do something to avenge this. Like, I can't just stop boxing. I can't just quit and disappear off the face of the earth. Like, I've got to tackle this head on, because my mindset is very strong. I've always been very disciplined and very resilient to move forward. So what I do, this is a critical turning point and one of the most important things I've done in my life. And that is, instantly, a few days after that fight, I signed up to the next fight. So at this point, it was November the 18th, which was fight night. And the next fight was on March 16th, which is a few months later. So anyway, I have December off. I just kind of chill. I'm working a job at a restaurant. I'm just boxing, doing my job. And yeah, so I'm training a little bit, just going out, partying a little bit, going out, doing trips here and there. And then in January I get back into training and I'm like, right, I'm going to fucking do this next fight, which was the most important changing point in my life. And in that period of my life, I was just signing up to that fight instantly after I've lost. I encourage you, if you make a mistake, if you fail, if you lose, instead of running in the opposite direction, turn around and fucking face it dead in the eye, right? I signed up to that boxing fight, the next boxing fight straight after. I was still scarred from that loss, but I turned around and I signed up to it again and put myself back into the deep end. I climbed to the shallow end and I fucking just dived straight back in the deep end, which is where the growth was. I know for me, if I wanted to progress as a person, if I wanted to grow, I had to fucking do it again. I couldn't live with myself of losing that first fight. But that's another story for another time. And that is the story of my first ever boxing fight, how it came about, mistakes I made, lessons I've learned, as well as just listening to this story. I hope you can take some value from this, and I encourage you to watch this video a few times because you'll learn a lot from it and my mistakes, right? If you're watching a video like this, don't just watch the story aimlessly as entertainment. Take it, see it, and see what mistakes I made and how you can avoid making those same mistakes in your life. And I got a quick summary and 3 points I took away from that training camp and fight to give you a nice summary of it all. First lesson of losing that fight: you cannot cheat the fucking process. You cannot go clubbing 5 weeks out from a boxing fight and expect to win and be the fucking man on that fight night, right? Deep down, when it came to fight night, I knew that I fucked up because I'd been out clubbing 5 weeks before, and you just simply can't cheat the process. If you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you can't be drinking every weekend going down to the pub. You see things that you know that you shouldn't do, but you do them anyway, and it scars you, and deep down it puts an etch on your heart, right? It sits with you for the rest of your life and you can't avoid it. So, never cheat the fucking process. You know what the right thing is to do and you need to do it if you want to achieve that goal of yours. My goal was to win the boxing fight, but I was doing tasks and habits which opposed that goal. Reason being, I didn't fulfill it. Second thing, work so hard that you can crush your opponent on his best day, on your worst day. You want to be able to beat his opponent on his best day while you're on your worst day. This is exactly what happened on that fight night. He was having the best day of his life, I was having the worst day of my life. I should have been mentally prepared and physically prepared so well that I was able to still beat him when I was in that mind space and he was in that mind space. And outwork any possible chance that you lose. So looking back at the fight, I would have trained harder, I would have stopped clubbing, I would have ran more, I would have done more hard sparring, put myself in more of those situations where I was sparring amateur boxers who are way better than me. So you need to look at that and reflect on what you could have done better, and always prepare for the worst, because if you prepare for the best, then the worst is probably going to happen, and then when it happens, you're fucked because you haven't prepared for it. Third point, your thoughts dictate everything, and the power of the mind is just simply unfathomable. Your mind has the power to achieve anything it wants and to direct you in any way that you want to go in. So you need to be very careful with where you put your energy and where you put your thoughts, because your thoughts will dictate how you act, and how you act is inevitably going to lead to the result which you reap. So direct your thoughts into something positive. Always think positively. It sounds cheesy, it sounds cliche, but you need to always think positively and always think that you're the man. Back yourself in every situation. Be confident, have an ego. They're good things. So keep your thoughts positive. Always keep your chin up. Always look at what the best thing can happen. Always look at the glass as half full rather than half empty. Anyway, that is the story of my first boxing fight. I hope you can take some value away from this, as well as a bit of entertainment, and as well as just listening to my story. It's something that I really haven't talked about much since it happened. I mean, it happened 1 year ago and I haven't really spoken about it much to anyone. It's something that I keep very private and close to me, as you should. You don't want to express your failures too soon until you've reflected and understood them yourself. So this is the right time to make this video, because it's literally, I'm not even chatting shit, like 1 year ago today I started that first boxing camp session. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, hope you can take something from it, and this is just a little glimpse of what's come. I wanted to set the scene, I wanted you to get to know me a little bit more, get you to understand my story a little bit more, so that when I make videos in the future, they have a purpose to it and you understand the point of view which I'm coming from. That's it for the fucking video, and I'll see you in the next one.